Greetings. I am Samuel Gladden, Dean of the College of Liberal Arts, Education, and Human Development at the University of New Orleans. Today, I'm visiting with one of our alumna, Jannette Zorrilla, who graduated in 1993 with a BA in Drama and Communications. Jannette, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Dean Gladden.
I've asked you to join us to tell a bit of your story about how you got to UNO and your experience while you were here.
Like you said, I graduated in 93. I chose UNO because of its convenience, really. I was able to live at home, which saved money, obviously, for me and my family, my parents. And I like the idea of being on the lakefront. You had that opportunity of going up on the levee to do some homework, and it was a beautiful campus then when I was there. I'm sure it still is.
It is very beautiful, yeah. What were classes like? What was your experience as a student at UNO?
I was interested in broadcast journalism. I knew as a seventh grader that I wanted to be in journalism. I did a whole, one of those school fair posters on journalism, and I knew somehow that is what I wanted to do. And so when I was looking at the course catalog through UNO, I just circled those broadcast writing courses, the editing courses, and I just couldn't wait until I was a junior and senior to just really delve into it. I really enjoyed those classes the most, obviously. My instructor at the time worked at Channel 6, and he would bring in his rundowns from the TV station. He brought the class to tour the TV station, which I was just thrilled about, to do that and see it in real time, how it happens, the urgency in the newsroom, I felt the excitement of it all, and walking into the studio for the first time and just really starting to understand the atmosphere and the hierarchy of, what's involved in television news, understanding where the stories come from. I loved it all. I honestly, I believe that it was what I was meant to do.
So you had an experience with hands-on learning here at UNO. You really saw what the workplace would be like as part of your education as a student.
I did. The most important class I took outside of those broadcast writing classes was the internship that I did at UNO, the internship course that I did at UNO.
And you were a senior at that time, is that right?
I did it in my last semester of my senior year, and I cannot stress that enough. That is so ideal. UNO gives students an opportunity to visualize, walk into what could be the job of their dreams. You have the power of UNO behind you when you apply for an internship with whatever company it is that you want to do, and say, look, I'm not just somebody off the street who is thinking about, your industry. I'm a UNO student, and I have the power of the university behind me, and they let you in. Like WVUE let me in. They welcomed me. Because of what I learned in my broadcast class at UNO, when I walked into the WVUE newsroom in January of 1993, I knew how to read the assignment board. I knew how to read the rundown and interpret what it meant. I knew how to read and understand the script templates. I understood what the control room atmosphere was like. I was truly prepared, and more so than interns who showed up from other local colleges. I was kind of surprised that they couldn't and didn't understand what the assignment board was saying and what the jargon was. So I felt very fortunate, and kind of felt like I had a little leg up
Sure.
in that sense.
And that's part of the hands-on learning, right? Is that you had theoretical learning certainly in your field, but also you had practical knowledge, and so you could go into a workplace and know from the first moment what it is that needed to be done, as opposed to needing to be trained about what it is that one does in that situation.
For sure. I mean, honestly, obviously the college setting is different from the real world business setting. And so when you walk into the newsroom, everything is so immediate and so now, and it's got to be right or nothing, right? In college, you get to make the mistakes, you get to understand and learn from your mistakes. Here, if you're going on television and you're about to say that this happened and this happened and this happened, I could see how they were working to make sure that they had the right information, how they double checked to get the other side of the story. To me, it was exciting and thrilling, and I really loved it. And again, I cannot stress, take advantage of UNO's internship course. It can change your life. It changed my life. I
Absolutely.
walked into WVUE in, like I said, January of 1993, and I stayed for 29 years.
Yeah, it's amazing. So tell
The
me about.
the last 17 years of my career at Channel 8, I was in management.
Mhm.
Um, the beginning obviously was a learning process. You get to, you know, I was able to work with people who I watched on TV, which was so fun.
Must have been so
Margaret
exciting.
Tucson,
Yeah.
Bob Breck, names that people in New Orleans, they know and they love. And here I am getting to talk into their ear and giving Bob Breck a rap. It was just crazy.
Yeah. And as you say, the fact that you came from UNO gave you such an entree into this area, because you've told me in a separate conversation how many UNO connections we have in local television. And so, in addition to the fact that you were so well prepared and so highly qualified, UNO gave you that opportunity to go into the workplace with an already recognized credential in New Orleans. And of course, not just in New Orleans, UNO is known nationally and internationally. But it was interesting to me when you told me how many UNO connections we have at the television station.
Oh,
That's
the
great.
WVUE newsroom is chock full of UNO grads,
Yeah,
proud UNO grads.
that's wonderful. Yeah. You also talked to me in a different conversation about the importance of advising and how helpful your advisor was to you as you charted your educational path at UNO. Tell us a bit about that.
I will say, take advantage of the college advisors that UNO has. I was kind of struggling with some courses, struggling through a course at the time, and I met with my advisor, and he was able to talk to me and ask me, what is it that you want to do? Universities are not trade schools, but at the end of the day, when I got my drama and communications degree, UNO expected me to go out and use it and be a
Mhm,
communications professional.
mhm,
So, meeting with that advisor, he was able to guide me and say, those kinds of courses that you're struggling in, let me lead you in a different path for success. And let me lead you into something that could actually help your studies and help you. And it was, I found it invaluable, and it did change for me. The courses that I was taking, it helped better my GPA,
mhm.
because he was able to steer me to courses that I had way more interest in.
Sure.
So I would definitely say take advantage of your college advisor at UNO.
Great. And tell us about where you are now. So you've made a career transition, moving from
I
television
did
to print
after
media.
29 years
Mhm.
at WVUE. Um, and over there I did everything. I worked on the assignment desk. I worked weekends. I worked nights. I worked mornings. Um, I
You worked after Katrina, you told me in our earlier conversation, in a very unusual circumstance. Tell us a bit about that before you talk about where you are now.
Sure. The Katrina experience was obviously one for the record books, right? Everyone who lived through it knows. Um, living through it and working through it was very hard. I, along with so many people in New Orleans, lost my house in Katrina.
Mhm.
On the day, I believe it was 2 days before the storm came, I remember Bob Brett coming into our news director's office, and I had just been promoted into management in May of that year. So I was now a part of the strategic planning team. I was a part of the just taking care of the newsroom and making sure what we were doing. So he came into the news director's office and said, "This is our storm," like, so straight and serious. And we started mobilizing and making sure that we had people in all of the right places, and we stationed people in Mobile, Alabama at a sister station of ours, WALA. And what happened was, the day before landfall, I was charged to take, I think it was about 22 staffers with me to Alabama. And when WVUE got knocked off the air, we took over in Alabama. We were operating out of a garage. The set that we had, if you could even call it that, was a curtain with a folding table and 2 chairs and a laptop. And I just started, trying to make it work, trying to keep the New Orleans community informed of this historic event that was happening to us. We ended up living there as a staff for about 3 months.
Wow.
Some of our staffers would come and go from Mobile back home to New Orleans, and then have to travel back because obviously there was no place to live in New Orleans. Some of our staffers were positioned on the North Shore and could go in and out from there. But it was definitely a hard time. And I ended up learning that I lost my house by watching the aerials that that one of our photographers was able to get up in the air, and he was coming down. I lived in Araby at the time, and he was flying down Judge Perez closer and closer to Jackson Barracks, and I started recognizing it. And honestly, I had a physical anxiety attack when I realized that's like the house on the corner of my street, and all you could see was the rooftop. And I was like, okay, you just have to power through it. Yes, I took time. I walked out of that edit bay shaken, and had to go sit down for like 15-20 minutes. And then I realized this is happening to everybody, and everybody needs to know. People who've evacuated, they're not seeing what I'm seeing yet. I need to quickly put this out there. And really, the help of everyone that I was working with at WVUE, they just, busted their butts to make sure that we were able to show our viewers, and we had to do it strictly online back then because there was nothing else, just what was happening to our beloved city. So it was hard to do. But if you're a journalist and you pick this job, you pick the career, then that means you're on, and a time when your city really needed you to be on, we were there. So I was proud of it.
Thank you for sharing that with us. So tell us where you are now and what you're doing now.
So now I am in San Antonio, Texas. My husband and I decided to move to be closer to my sister who lives here. After my mom and his mom passed away, we decided to move closer to our siblings here. And I moved also to print journalism. I'm the assistant managing editor at the San Antonio Business Journal.
That's wonderful. That's a major switch from working in television for so long.
It is a major switch, and the jargon is different. And so I'm learning. It's kind of exciting to sort of start over. You
Yeah.
know, in my career in television, I I achieved a lot. I achieved I won citywide and statewide awards for my newscasts and
Mhm.
my special projects.
Mhm.
I was honored to have won an Emmy Award
Yes.
for a documentary on
Yes.
the TV station, and I won an Edward R. Murrow Regional Award for a separate documentary. So I felt at the time when we were thinking about moving, I'm like, I feel like, I can put a pin in broadcast TV. I've
Right.
done everything I wanted to do here, and I was looking forward to a change. I'm born and raised in New Orleans, went to college in New Orleans, did an internship, and got my first job in New Orleans. So this was exciting, a chance to change cities and change jobs, and I'm loving it so far.
You've had an amazing career. I'm floored at the honors that you've received and the work that you've done and the transition that you've made as well. What a brave step out to make a transition to an entirely new component of journalism. And to get back to the UNO perspective, UNO prepared you for success in those areas. That's so important for our potential students and our current students to know the way in which our university gives you the tools that you need, the connections that you need to begin a wonderful career path. So thank you for sharing your story with us today. If you could leave us with just a couple of words for our current and potential students, what would you say, Jannette?
I would say I did it and you can too.
That's right. Thank you so much. Again, what a pleasure to visit with you. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon.
Thank you, Dean Gladden. I appreciate it.